All right, so welcome. Today we are talking with Amiyrah Martin, who is the creator and founder of Four Hats and Frugal, both a blog and a YouTube channel. Am I getting that right? Yeah.
Sure.
And Amiyrah, the four hats are, I'm going to test myself, family, fun, food, and finance.
Close.
Not fun, family, food, fashion, and finance.
There you
Yes.
go. Yes.
And what I love is that you're bringing it all from this perspective of creating a fabulous life that you love, but within your means, and about being intentional about your spending.
Mhm.
And so I'm so excited for everybody to get to know you and your work. And we're going to be talking a little bit about your journey from this idea of a business to creating what you've had while having three kids, a husband, a kitty, a house, all of that stuff. So why don't we start? You tell me a little bit about how this got born, how you had this idea, and how you brought it into action.
Well, actually, I started my website out of a push from friends,
Uh-huh.
truthfully. I was in a forum. MSN used to have forums where you could talk about finance, or you could just share, what you're doing, what tips and tricks you have for either building your personal finance or saving money. And I stumbled upon that. We were in kind of dire straits
Mm-hmm.
when we were newlyweds. We had just had our little firstborn, our boy, and our car got repossessed.
Uh-huh.
And we couldn't figure out why. We were making so much money. My husband and I were working all the time, and we had so much income coming in, but
Mm-hmm.
yet things weren't, they weren't
Mm-hmm.
adding up.
Mm-hmm.
So when that car got repossessed, that's when we said, "Whoa."
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is serious. We need to sit and we need to figure out what's going wrong here. And that's when we kind of changed our lives. So I stumbled upon the forums. I made a lot of friends there, and they said, "You're giving some really great tips
Mm-hmm.
here for someone who's kind of a newbie. You should start a blog." And I said, "What's a blog?" So they told me what it was, and I set it up. And that's where this all came from. Just me pretty much sharing our
Mm-hmm.
trial and error when it came to our personal story.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, one of the things that really stands out to me about you is that it feels like it's important to you to be sharing this message. And I tell a lot of women who I work with that if you're going to start something, it needs to have some oomph behind it, that it needs to stand for something, be of purpose, be contributing something. So, am I getting that right? Is this an important message for you? And what would you say is the sort of message behind or purpose behind the work you're doing?
It's very, very important to me. I feel like, especially my generation, I'm part of that millennial generation.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know where to start when it comes to being an adult, or where it
Mm-hmm.
comes to really giving our family the best when we're on such a tight budget.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure how to do that. Our parents did a great job of taking care of us. And then when it comes to us taking care of our own families, we're like, how did they do that?
Mm-hmm.
We never really asked. We just were appreciative of it until we
Mm-hmm.
had to have our own families. So that's where I am now. I feel like that's my purpose in life,
Mm-hmm.
is to tell our story and to
Mm-hmm.
help others create a great life on less. Just
Mm-hmm.
be fabulous on whatever you have. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm trying to get done now. That's really what I'm pushing towards, to kind of get that message out, that you can live really a wonderful life without having to spend a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. So another thing, and I wonder, maybe you don't have this, but I think I hear from a lot of women that they feel like, well, they've got self-doubt, they've got fears, they don't feel confident enough to do it. And I believe for myself that, well, we all have all of those things, but we do it anyway. So what sort of fears or self-doubts have you had to bump up against in order to create what you've created?
I feel like my biggest fear is that people won't really care about what I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about it in the way that your story may only affect one person,
Mm-hmm.
but if you could save one person's life, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think, well, what if I don't find that one person? What if this next story that I'm going to tell, or this next tip, or this next trick, no one really cares? Not even one person is affected by it. Why am I wasting my time? So that's where the fear does come in. Is
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my family's time by doing this. I don't want to waste others' times by them reading it and not feeling like that helped them. But you got to push through that because there is that one person that really needs you. It's that one person that will connect with you, with your story, with your family, with your past, with your future. So you just got to keep going. No matter if the fear comes in, just push past it and share what you have to share.
Awesome. Well, that brings me to my next question about finding what works for you. Because again, I think we have this misconception that you should know this business model that's going to work and what's going to resonate with people and what's going to work for your family. But I know as mothers and entrepreneurs, we have to just keep going and figuring out what works. So have you ever had that experience where you put something out there and it just doesn't kind of land or it kind of flops and then you have to keep going?
Always.
Yeah.
That's the one fun part, I really say. I think that's the fun part, is that it's okay if you fail because you know you can just try again the next day. And you get to learn from the failure. I've done those 31-day challenges on my blogs, and I've tried out doing a little bit more upscale recipes and things like that. And they kind of flop because that's not what my readers like. And it was something that was fun for me to try. But, you know, it didn't work out. But I learned that, okay, that didn't work, but they did like this one little part of that failure. Let's continue on that. And I offer that and they go, this is great. Can you give us more? Can you share a little bit more about that? So, you know, you got to do the flops. The flops are part of being an entrepreneur. It's part of being an online entrepreneur, really, because everything is new every day. So we got to do those little flops to see what fits our audience and fits our customers. And it's a little bit fun too, because you know, if you fail, you just get to try again.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like you take each as a learning experience and then you pivot based on what's resonating.
Right. Never always pivot.
Right. And how about family? I know you got 3 kids, they're home with you. How do you determine for yourself what jobs you take on, what you do with your time, how you're balancing your income with this, how you are discerning for yourself what makes this workable in your family life?
Well, that part has become easier over time. This year, especially in 2015, we sat down and we made our own family goals. And my business was a big part of the family goals. We decided that mom wasn't going to take on anything that didn't include other family members. So I really didn't focus on myself. Not a lot of fashion about me this year. More of the kids' fashion and just things that we liked as a family. Star Wars fashion. We're big Star Wars fans. So we focused mostly on the family this year. So anything that I took on was either centered around one of the children or my husband or us as a whole family. So you have to think about that with your business. What are you going to focus on that doesn't distract you from your family? What can you incorporate into your business that brings your family along, that, you know, lets them help you become a better entrepreneur?
I love that you don't have to protect, like Amiyrah's self-fulfillment is somehow separate from the family and it needs to guard them out, that it can be really fluid. And I love the creative ways that you've made that happen.
Right. I mean, obviously our families are a big part of what we do. So why not do things that can incorporate them? And they're a big part of you as a person. So if you can incorporate them into your business, which is part of you, all the better.
Awesome. So this isn't a question I prepared you for, but I'll ask it anyway. So if you could give advice to a woman out there who's got a creative idea or a business idea and she's feeling stuck, maybe I'm not ready, or I don't know if it's going to work, what advice might you give her?
Write it out. I think we get caught up in what's in our brains and the visions that we put into our heads, and we don't sit and actually write it all out. Do a brain dump. If you have fears, write out all the fears. If you have excitement about an idea, write out why you're excited, what your steps will be for that idea, what's holding you back from doing it right now. Write it on a piece of paper, because once you see it written out, it doesn't have as much leverage or clout.
Awesome.
So get it out of that brain, write it down, and then you look at it and you go, you know what? That's not really all that true. I can actually overcome that. Let's get going. So write it out. Brain dump. Brain dump's the best way to take care of anything.
Great. You create some real estate in your mind to do something different. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Where can people find more if they want to learn more or see what you're doing out there?
Well, you can find me at fourhatsandfrugal.com. That's our website, and you learn more about our family and our financial journey. You can also find us on YouTube, Four Hats and Frugal on YouTube. The number four, Four Hats and
Okay.
Frugal. That's our YouTube channel. And I am Amiyrah Martin on Periscope and on Twitter, and Amiyrah M on Instagram. So we're all over the place.
Awesome. Great. Well, it's really fun. I feel so glad that I get to follow you and see your adventure every day.
Thank you so much,
All
Jessica.
right.